For decades, a shadow war has raged between Israel and Iran, fought not on open battlefields but in the shadows of cyberspace, through covert operations and by proxy forces. This is a conflict that rarely makes headlines in its true form, yet its consequences ripple across the globe. The struggle is relentless, evolving with technology and shifting alliances, as both nations seek to outmaneuver each other in a high-stakes game of deception and power. Here, spies, assassins, hackers and militias are the main weapons and deniability is the rule. Every move is calculated, every action shrouded in secrecy, as both sides try to gain the upper hand without leaving fingerprints. The battlefield is everywhere and nowhere. Urban streets, digital networks, distant deserts. Governments act aggressively without claiming responsibility, sidestepping diplomatic fallout and open war. Plausible deniability becomes a shield, allowing leaders to push boundaries while avoiding direct confrontation. Behind closed doors, tense negotiations and secret deals shape the course of this hidden war. The rules are murky, rewritten with every covert strike or cyber attack. Each new tactic sets a precedent, blurring the lines between war and peace, legality and lawlessness. The pace of escalation is unpredictable, and the stakes are always high. The public sees only the aftermath: explosions, assassinations, sudden escalations, rarely the hidden hands behind them. For most, the true nature of the conflict remains invisible, masked by official denials and misinformation. Mossad and Iran's MOIS play a long game, recruiting agents, intercepting communications, and sabotaging each other's capabilities. Their operations are intricate, often spanning years, and require patience, precision, and unwavering resolve. The aim isn't conquest but to degrade the enemy, slow their progress, and undermine influence. Each act of sabotage or propaganda is designed to weaken resolve, disrupt plans, and shift the balance of power in subtle but significant ways. Yet, secrecy makes this conflict volatile. A single miscalculation can spiral into open war. The ever-present risk of escalation keeps both sides on edge, knowing that one wrong move could ignite a much larger and uncontrollable crisis. In 2024, the world saw just how quickly the rules of a secret war can shatter, threatening to engulf the entire region. As the boundaries between shadow and open conflict blur, the stakes for peace and security have never been higher. For years, the Israel-Iran conflict simmered in the shadows, fought through proxies, cyber attacks, and covert operations. But in 2024, that shadow war exploded into the open for the world to see. The turning point came in the aftermath of the devastating October 2023 Israel-Hamas war, which left Gaza in ruins and sent shockwaves across the region. The old rules of plausible deniability, where each side could strike from the shadows and deny involvement, vanished almost overnight. Now, both Israel and Iran launched direct, unmistakable attacks on each other's territory, shattering any remaining illusions of restraint. The catalyst for this new era was Iran's unprecedented missile barrage on Israel in October 2024. This was a direct retaliation for the assassination of a senior Hamas leader in the heart of Tehran, a move that Iran could not ignore. For the first time, Iran openly deployed its own military arsenal against Israel, sending a clear message that the conflict's rules had changed forever. The world watched as Iran's military might was put on full display, signaling a permanent shift in the region's power dynamics. Israel, facing a direct attack on its soil, saw this as an intolerable threat to its security and existence. The Israeli military command scrambled to respond, launching intense strategic planning sessions and preparing for a possible wider war. Tensions escalated further when in early 2025, a former CIA analyst leaked classified Israeli war plans. The documents revealed just how close the region had come to all-out war and exposed the depth of international involvement behind the scenes. The tit-for-tat cycle of retaliation intensified, with each missile strike and counterstrike pushing both nations closer to the brink. Every escalation risked drawing in other regional powers, threatening to ignite a much wider conflict across the Middle East. The era of deniable operations was over. Now, the world's eyes were fixed on the Middle East, as the secret war transformed into a direct, open confrontation. International leaders scrambled to contain the crisis, but the situation was spiraling out of control. The stakes had never been higher. With both sides on high alert and regional leaders in emergency meetings, the risk of a catastrophic miscalculation loomed over every move, every decision. The Middle East's fragile balance was shattered, leaving millions of civilians anxious and uncertain. As the world braced for what might come next, one thing was clear: the era of open confrontation had truly begun. The Israel-Iran conflict has entered a new era, where the lines between digital and physical battlefields are increasingly blurred. Today, cyber warfare, drones, and direct missile strikes are all part of a rapidly evolving playbook, making the region more volatile than ever before. Cyber attacks now target critical infrastructure, water systems, ports, and government networks, causing widespread chaos and disruption. These digital assaults often come without warning, sending clear messages while leaving few traces behind. The psychological impact is immense, as entire cities can be thrown into confusion with a single keystroke. Drones, both cheap and highly effective, have become essential tools for surveillance and precision attacks. Iran supplies these unmanned aircraft to its regional proxies, expanding its reach, while Israel deploys advanced drones for intelligence gathering and targeted strikes deep inside enemy territory. The skies above the Middle East are now crowded with these silent machines. Assassinations and targeted killings have surged, with high-profile incidents, like the killing of a Hezbollah leader in 2024, sending shockwaves through the region. These operations are designed to disrupt leadership structures and instill fear, but they also risk igniting cycles of violent retaliation. Each operation is a calculated gamble, aiming to weaken adversaries while maintaining the upper hand. Yet the ever-present threat of escalation looms, as every strike could provoke a fierce and unpredictable response. The most alarming development came when Iran launched over 180 ballistic missiles at Israel, a watershed moment that marked a dramatic escalation into open warfare. This unprecedented attack shattered previous boundaries and signaled a willingness to engage in direct, large-scale conflict. Israel's advanced air defense systems like the Iron Dome managed to intercept most of the incoming missiles, preventing even greater devastation. Still, the sheer scale and intensity of the attack marked a new era in the conflict, raising fears of what might come next. Direct state-on-state strikes are no longer just a distant threat, they are now a terrifying and immediate reality, reshaping the security landscape of the entire region. The technological arms race between Israel and Iran is relentless. Both sides are investing heavily in new innovations, adapting rapidly to each other's tactics, and pushing the boundaries of modern warfare. The world is now witnessing a new kind of warfare, one that is fast, unpredictable, and dangerously escalatory. As technology advances, the risks and consequences grow, leaving the region and the world on edge. Iran's axis of resistance, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, forms the backbone of its regional strategy. Hezbollah, with its vast arsenal, poses the most immediate threat, launching daily attacks from Lebanon and drawing heavy Israeli retaliation. Hamas, despite ideological differences, serves Iran's goal of bogging Israel down in multi-front conflict, as seen in the October 2023 attacks. The war in Gaza has activated other fronts, with Hezbollah and the Houthis joining in. The Houthis' missile and drone attacks on Red Sea shipping have disrupted global trade and drawn an international response. Iran's proxy network ensures the conflict is never contained, threatening both regional stability and the global economy. Every front opened by Iran's allies increases the risk of a wider, uncontrollable war. The human cost of this conflict is staggering. Civilians are the primary victims. On the Israel-Lebanon border, daily violence has forced over 62,000 Israelis and 90,000 Lebanese from their homes. Communities are shattered, families scattered, and livelihoods destroyed as towns become battlegrounds. Makeshift schools and shelters are now the norm, with trauma and uncertainty defining daily life. The destruction of homes, infrastructure, and farmland has deepened the crisis. Children grow up under constant threat, their futures shaped by war and displacement. The suffering on both sides is a stark reminder. This is not just a strategic contest, but a humanitarian catastrophe. At the heart of the conflict is Iran's nuclear program, Israel's ultimate red line. Israel views a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat and has acted for decades to prevent it. Since the collapse of the 2015 nuclear deal, Iran has advanced its program, edging closer to weapons-grade uranium. Israel's response sabotage, cyber attacks, and assassinations of nuclear scientists. Iran insists its program is peaceful, but its missile development and secrecy fuel deep suspicion. For Tehran, nuclear capability is both a deterrent and a symbol of power. As Iran nears the nuclear threshold, the risk of a massive Israeli strike and regional war grows. The nuclear issue accelerates every confrontation, making each escalation potentially catastrophic. Israel's response to mounting threats is a blend of overt and covert action. Operation Northern Arrows, launched in September 2024, aimed to degrade Hezbollah's capabilities and secure Israel's northern border. Innovative attacks like remotely detonating Hezbollah's communications caused chaos and paved the way for the assassination of its leader. Israel's war between the wars continues with regular airstrikes in Syria to disrupt Iranian arms shipments. These actions, rarely acknowledged, keep adversaries off balance and prevent buildup of advanced threats. Israel has signaled readiness for a ground invasion if diplomacy fails, calling up reserves and publicizing operational plans. The message is clear: Israel will escalate if its security is not restored. The Israel-Iran conflict is a geopolitical earthquake, threatening global energy supplies and economic stability. Houthi attacks on Red Sea shipping have forced costly detours, while the Strait of Hormuz remains a potential flashpoint. Any major war could trigger a global recession and disrupt vital trade routes. The risk of miscalculation is higher than ever. Each attack could spark a wider regional war involving the US and other powers. Diplomatic efforts to de-escalate are complicated by the interconnectedness of the region's conflicts. Hezbollah ties any truce in Lebanon to a ceasefire in Gaza, making resolution elusive. The world watches as the region teeters on the edge, knowing the consequences would be felt everywhere. The puzzle of peace remains unsolved, with the threat of escalation ever present. The Israel-Iran conflict is no longer a distant regional issue, it's a global flashpoint. It touches on nuclear proliferation, energy security, trade, and terrorism, with consequences for every nation. The war showcases how non-state actors and new technologies are reshaping